Welcome to Consource, everyone. Welcome to this session. This is session 301. This is multi-tenancy configuration in Anynode SBC with our speaker, Oliver. And I'll hand over to our speaker now. Oliver, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening. Welcome to the online Microsoft Teams conference, Comsworth 2020. I'm excited to be presenting this session on behalf of TE Systems. Today, I will highlight our Microsoft certified session border controller Anynode in conjunction with Microsoft Teams direct routing. After a short introduction and some facts about Anynode, I will talk about the multi-tenancy options of our SBC and also the options you have with direct routing. The focus will be on some facts about different options we have in our wizard. At the end of the session, you should be able to select the right model and know where to find all the necessary resources. In case you have a question, post this in the chat window and we will answer your item at the end of the Q&A part at our breakout session. Details about the breakout session for more questions will be in the chat window at the end of the presentation. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Oliver Kerber, CEO of TE Systems. Currently, I'm located in the Sunshine State, Florida, to drive the US business. And I'm also working with the Microsoft product team on supporting new features for enterprise world. TE Systems is a privately held company. Our headquarters is in the beautiful city of Wolfsburg in Germany. We also have a sales office in Hamburg and an additional support center located in Boston, Massachusetts. We develop software for communication since 30 years now. Starting when ISDN was deployed in Germany, we always have focused on the telephony and fax software solutions. For a little less than 20 years now, we have moved into the IP, voice over IP communication area. The focus of TE Systems since its inception has been to develop software for communications, no hardware and no plans for hardware in the future. Let's start with a short overview of Anynode's role in the Microsoft Teams ecosystem. To get dial tone or to get a PSTN dial tone in Microsoft Teams, you have two options. Calling plans are licenses you buy from Microsoft. You get phone numbers from Microsoft and you assign these phone numbers to users. Very easy to use, a straightforward configuration. But the calling plans license is not available in many countries. And typically it's more expensive and less flexible. The other option is called direct routing. Direct routing will give you the capability of bringing your phone numbers and zip trunks to Microsoft Teams. You're also able to connect your local PBX and voice applications like IVR systems or contact center applications. For this connection, you need a certified session border controller like our Anynode. When it comes to direct routing, we believe that there are three different types of business users. The first group is customers with an existing PBX. They want to migrate to Teams step by step. For example, they just start with the sales department. In this case, Anynode will often connect it to an internal zip trunk of an existing PBX. These customers usually have Skype for Business experience and plans to move to Microsoft Teams. So the second group are customers who want to replace their existing PBX with Teams. Straightforward and no major project plan. Usually they choose a new SIP provider or ask for a local provider recommendation for their country. So this group will be a customer of the solution we show today. So they will also be able to use the multi-tenancy configuration as a customer. The third group, this is customer is new in comparison to Skype for Business. There were several companies offering already a service like this with Skype for Business earlier. These are phone providers or cloud companies. They offer Microsoft 365 services or cloud PBX offerings. Their target customers are different. So some of them are customers with just a few seats. Others provide a full service, including licenses, headset, and well as enterprise voice. And they are taking advantage of this multi-tenancy offering. This scenario usually or often hosted in Microsoft Azure. So in summary, direct routing offers the interop with third-party systems like PBXs. You can leverage your existing contracts with service providers. You will get a single DID number for every user, and this is an option where calling plans are not available, but it can also be combined with calling plans. To get a better overview of the options you have, we need to talk about the different business models first. The classic one is the single tenancy model. So each customer will get his own session border controller to connect a PSTN trunk or his local PBX to Microsoft Teams. This model is the most flexible option in the direct routing configuration. The customer can choose between different deployment options, for example, his own data center in Microsoft Azure, on Amazon AWS, and much more. He will get his personal license based on the concurrent calls. Usually it's a complete replacement for the legacy PSTN connection when it comes to concurrent calls. The configuration is very flexible when it comes to specific routing options or connection of third-party devices like analog fax terminals, door phones, voice applications. So every customer can have his preferred PSTN provider. From the system integrator's perspective, there are limitations to scalability. You have to back up, monitor, and maintain each single instance. So in different areas. So sometimes customers use Azure, sometimes use their own on-premises. So this is the same business you have with the legacy hardware of other SBCs. With a multi-tenancy model, you can go another way. When you are in the service business, you deploy an SBC in your network. So this deployment can also be on premises or on the cloud. One SBC support multiple customers. The configuration is more or less one-fits-all setting, and the license is shareable between various customers. So like it's counting by concurrent calls. So this model is designed for carriers to onboard new tenants fast and easy. One or a few instances are easy to handle and maintain. So in comparison to the single option where you have single deployments in different directions. But don't think the multi-tenancy option is not flexible. So with Anynode, there are two options to offer multi-tenancy service. In this picture, I show the first approach of Microsoft to support multi-tenants with just one SBC. Here we have many instances of a tenant to PSTN provider connection. So each configuration is independent and works with three different main objects: a PSTN node, a Microsoft 365 node, and we call it a transport connection to route the calls between these both nodes. Like in the single tenancy configuration, you need one certificate per customer and also DNS configuration per tenant. Multiple instances allow you to have individual configuration options for each tenant. For example, the media bypass or session limit can be configured flexible for each single gateway separately. The integration of third-party equipment is easy as in a single tenancy. Depending on your business approach, you can spend more or less time on each customer. If you want to allow to integrate existing PBX equipment, this model is the best choice. Now we see the multi-tenancy model with the so-called derived or carrier trunk. So there's a single gateway configuration between the gateway, between the SBC and the direct routing connection in the Microsoft 365 cloud. After the initial configuration of a master gateway, you need a wildcard certificate. So it's accessible to onboard new tenants easy and fast. So in comparison to the other model, you need a single certificate for each single tenant. Here, you just need one wildcard certificate. You do not have to ask the customer for DNS configuration or requesting the certificate for his direct routing connection. Depending on the offering, you can have multiple connections to PSTN providers. So based on the destination, a call can use a local provider or another provider which has reasonable rates for international calls, for example. So you can act like the carrier and try to optimize the cost. All the pictures showed in the single instance showed the single instance of Anynode. I just want to mention here an HA configuration is also possible for the multi-tenancy. This is also a recommendation for partners who wants to create a hosted service platform. To see the different directions in the Anynode wizard, let's start again with the single tenancy on the single tenancy option or the single tenancy option. So after starting the wizard on the first access to Anynode configuration, this wizard will pop up automatically. You see the single tenancy option on top of the window. To start the configuration, just follow the wizard step by step. So with the next button on the bottom. Have information about your FQDN ports and certificates available. So here we have a single FQDN configuration. At the end of this wizard, a simple routing between these two nodes, Microsoft Teams and your PSTN connection or local PBX. This will be the best option to route all calls from A to B and vice versa. The best preparation for this simple configuration is our tech node with all requirements for direct routing. So this is available for download in our community or on our website. So I will show this later. Now we will focus on the multi-tenancy setup. So in general, the wizard will guide you the same way as we did for the single tenancy configuration. There will be one more question about the carrier trunk at the beginning. So on the first configuration, you select the create carrier trunk option. The certificate will be a wildcard certificate with a carrier FQDN. So details about this as well in our tech node. After successful setup of the carrier trunk, you can start to onboard new tenants without adding a new certificate and DNS entry to each tenant. So that means things are getting easier if you onboard here new customers. You do not need to have an DNS entry, which sometimes takes a couple of days to set up for each tenant. Adding a new tenant will work the same way. So you just need to select the existing Teams connection for all customers. The last step will be creating the routing rules. This could be a little bit more complex as in the single tenancy option because of the flexibility. So as I mentioned before, depending on your PSTN provider, you need to configure the trunks. So some providers allows just one registration per customer. Others can handle multiple customers with just one registration. So please ask your provider and our support team for the best option. We have various providers already tested in our lab. So especially for this, there's an interop list available for download on our web as well. And if you want to have the previous mentioned selection of providers based on the destination to get the reasonable rates, this could be a more complex thing here. Yeah, finally, this was the main difference to set up a multi-tenancy trunk. There are a couple of other steps to have the direct routing up and running, but this is not part of this session. We provide a tech node with all requirements on our webpage. What are the next steps? So this the configuration steps are similar to the standard setup. Just go to anynode.de, check the direct routing page for all features. In the lower right, you will find here, as on the picture, some useful PDF files. The configuration tech node will be the one you need. So there's a section called using a Microsoft Teams direct routing carrier trunk with all details, with a step-by-step guide and useful tips. Also, the previous mentioned interop list with many tested providers are available in this section. In case you miss a provider, just ask our team for help. We can do the internal testing with this provider as well and can add them to this interop list. When talking about multiple deployments, automation is critical. So with our embedded REST API and PowerShell scripts, Anynode so the Anynode configuration can be created and controlled and edited in detail automatically and remotely. The REST API feature is excellent for the carriers and operators of managed service platforms that often have to deal with many recurring configuration steps. So it takes the configuration stress away and allow an efficient deployment for new tenants. When you see the Microsoft administration options, you need to use PowerShell anyway to create different policies. Most of the items you already can configure in the Teams Admin Center. Today, you have to use PowerShell to assign a phone number for direct routing to the user. So this assignment is not possible in the Admin Center. Partners can build scripts to automate the whole onboarding process of a new tenant. So with a PowerShell script, you can create all necessary objects in Anynode. The same script can add phone numbers and the voice policies to the customer tenant. So to help with the PowerShell options, we have a couple sample scripts already available. So the PowerShell scripts are available after the installation of Anynode. Please check out our REST API tech node for more details on where to find these scripts. We are updating this regularly. So please let us know about any new idea about scripting the SBC. So we see a lot of great things coming up here in the future. We'd like to get feedback on this to increase the productivity in the deployment and monitoring. I also wanted to highlight our powerful monitoring tools. Also, we do not want to forget the monitoring of the SBC in the hosted environment. So when losing the connection, you will not only have an incident in your house, this will have impact on all the customers you serve. So once set up, Anynode can be monitored in various ways to make sure that your SBC is always available all time. So first, Anynode can be monitored manually using the web interface of our SBC. This is called the Anynode front end. I mentioned this before with a wizard. We have a clean dashboard section which shows a survey of all relevant resources that you can configure to implement your communication flows. So for each of the entries, you can get even more detail by clicking on various listed elements. For example, the different target URIs of Microsoft Teams you can see here. So when you click on Microsoft Teams direct routing, a window will pop up and show you all details about this connection. You can see the connection of the different URIs. You can see in the top right the status of the option packets and also the configuration you have in your SBC here. But of course, your admin. So this is just for getting a brief overview of the actual status. But of course, your admins have more important stuff to do than monitoring the dashboard of Anynode. So therefore, we've implemented various ways to let Anynode to integrate into your automated network management systems. So Anynode supports the use of SNMP and WMI to allow the fully automated monitoring of this mission critical component of the infrastructure. So there are various monitoring points so that we make available to have a detailed view of the operating of your session border controller. So this is a classic way you monitor an SBC. On the top of the standardized SNMP and WMI integration, we also support the REST API to enable your system administrators to control additional aspects of your system in a customized way. Just think about the possibilities with Microsoft Power Apps. So create a flow and post a message in the admin channel of your teams to get a notification up and running. So just be creative on how you want to monitor this. When things go amiss, and that may happen however good you're planning your infrastructure, it is essential to get fast insight into the issues at hand. This can happen if you are dealing with different SIP trunks to your PSTN providers, for example. Anynode provides you with some powerful diagnostic functionalities to pinpoint issues and give you a fast way to be able to locate these issues and resolve them. So Anynode can log its current internal state and all ongoing transaction into log files, the so-called trace files. The Anynode analyzer, so the Anynode trace analyzer. So this is the central tool to analyze those trace files and help you to execute the diagnostic process. It can show all the information on different levels. So first, for example, in the system overview, you can get an overview of the current system infrastructure or configuration, operating system, memory configuration, etc. Just to get an overview of all the basics. You can list all calls going over the system during and duration of this trace is enabled. So a live trace is also possible. So this is a classic overview of all the calls. As you can see on the left, we just have just one call here. For each call, you can see the signaling that took place during the lifetime of the call. For example, in this picture, you see the classic SIP ladder. So you can click on each entry, you can get all the detailed communication information for each communication between the different legs. You also can clearly see what communication went over the encrypted transport channels. So check out the header of the SIP ladder. So there you see a node TLS in brackets between Anynode and Teams. So this is an encrypted communication. Because we are the SBC, we have all necessary certificates. We are able to see what's going on in this communication. But it even can go deeper, and you can show the media flows associated to the individual call legs. So one call usually have 4 legs, 2 between Microsoft Teams, in and out, and 2 to your PSTN provider. So you can get the media data of each media packet you sent or received in the various calls. So for quick analysis, so you can even have a waveform view. So of the audio data being forwarded or transcoded for a call when it passes Anynode and Anynode is doing the media termination. So you can use the playback features to play each single audio here. Sometimes customer mentioned, oh, we have some issues in this direction. So here you can figure out which leg you have to choose to analyze. Also on this view, we have special markers where you can see specific events. So like the mouse points to the place where the call is connected. You also will find DTMF tones or packet loss or high jitter mentioned in this overview. And this tool is essential to allow fast diagnostic of potential issues. So it will help you operations specialists to analyze problems locally and very fast. So because of the easy use, it's just a simple Windows application. In case your knowledge of the protocols involved has reached its limit, so those same trace files will help our support team to follow up with you and give you a helping hand at and a solution how to solve this issue. How to get more technical knowledge about this. So to be able to analyze trace files like this and also to manage the configuration. So we offer extensive product-related trainings that guide you on the effective use of Anynode. So especially designed for admins or system vendors who want to take the full advantage of the potential of our software SBC. For example, our Anynode Basic Online Training program that consists of 3 interactive online training. So there are 3 different sessions for this in this training. This training will get you certified and gives you the ability to provide the first level technical support of our SBC. In this training, every student has access to his own virtual machine in class to reproduce all the training steps. So the students will receive a complete hands-on training in a lab environment. The training is especially designed even for people with little or no experience in installation, configuration, on day-to-day administration of Anynode. So check out our Anynode Academy on the web for more details how to become an Anynode Pro. It's also important to see what customers say about our product. Here's a testimony from a partner that have experienced our software SBC. He already worked with other software SBCs before, so he knows what's going on in this area, and he's now a happy Anynode partner helping customers to connect their teams to PSTN. As you can see, we are transparent and always trying to make things easier. So this is our main goal. What are the next steps you should consider? So first, please ask for a 60-day trial license, including access to our great support team. So this license will give you the opportunity to test all the features and check out the functionality and figure out how multi-tenancy or single tenancy works in your environment. Follow us on Twitter or visit our YouTube channel. So on Twitter, you will get daily updates on Anynode about features, conference dates, and any other news. On our YouTube channel, so we have many learning videos already available. So it's in conjunction with our academy, you can learn everything about Anynode. Or just subscribe for our next Anynode basic training to get insights about our product and how to set up Anynode with direct routing. Thank you for attending my presentation today. Thank you all for all the organizers of this event. Enjoy ComsWorth 2020, and also wanted to take this opportunity in closing to thank all the sponsors of this year's event. Unfortunately, not an in-person event. See you in the breakout session. Just follow the link in the Q&A section. And yeah, see you later on our booth and in a private chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oliver. I'll just post the breakout meeting now in the Q&A. Yep, and just looking for any questions. Okay, one question here. Does it support optimal media?
I guess it's local media optimization. Yes, we support this feature. There was a session 2 days ago yesterday about local media optimization. Check out our PDF file as well for the direct routing. There will be a chapter as well explaining all local media optimization in comparison to media bypass and all necessary information.
Okay, great. And I guess you got some information over in the Anynode booth in the Teams conference channel as well. But yeah, if you want to speak with Oliver and ask any questions in person, then just head over to the breakout meeting, which the URL's in the questions and answers, and the URL is goteams.fans/BRK301. Thank you very much, Oliver, and we'll wrap the session up now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye bye.